Welcome back. Welcome back to Country Boys Fishing. Today's video we're going to learn how to rig up saltwater rigs. I got 5 inshore rigs that you should know. So we're going to start with the popping cork first. Here's the popping cork. This is a Country Boys popping cork wheel, Country Boys tackle box. One of the best rigs there is for catching speckled trout. I've caught speckled trout on this a lot, and I also caught redfish and snook. Works good for all 3 species actually. But what you do with this thing is you throw it out, casts a mile usually. If you're using like 620 Power Pro, you can cast this thing a mile. When it goes and it hits the water, it comes in the water like that. These brass beads down here are solid brass beads, so they act as a weight. So they pull down like that right there, and then when you jerk it, it makes a noise right there. It makes a like that, and it does rattle too. So when you pull it like that, the cork, it makes a splashing noise, and then this makes a popping, kind of a, I don't know how to describe it, but a metallic noise, I guess. And they hear that, and they come over to see what it is, and then they see your jig or your live bait or anything hanging under it, and they hit it. So what we got here is just a regular old jig head. I mean, it's our Ultra Minnow jig head with a Victory V-lock hook with a paddle tail soft plastic that I call the finger mullet. All right, well, this here we catch a lot of trout off of these. This is a really good rig for trout, speckled trout. I've caught a lot of fish off of them. I can't really tell if you can see that or not, but this is worth a try right here, because the way we make our popping corks, we don't make them with a wire. We put heavy duty monofilament in there, so you know it won't bend and it don't tangle up. Hardly ever tangles up, man. I was commercial fishing with these things for trout, and I'd make thousands of casts with it, never tangled up, maybe once or twice. And then I just give it a little jerk then and it straightened up. So I mean, there's nothing for it to hang on. So once a wire gets bent like that, it gets bent. It's got a memory in it. It just keeps bending right there again, and eventually it starts tangling. Because this is why I switched this to that, so it quit tangling up on me. So the popping cork can be rigged this way with with a jig, and you have to work it in a pop and stop motion. Reel up your slack, pop it, reel up your slack, pop it. Because you got to keep this jig head moving. With live bait, you could take this jig head off and put a live bait hook on there, similar to this, maybe a little smaller. But then you could use shrimp, pinfish, greenbacks, or any other mud minnows, or any other live bait that's in your area, and you could use them that way. Catch a lot of fish off live bait too, especially snook and redfish. Snook and redfish are up around the mangrove islands here in Florida, where I live, in Central and South Florida. They generally hang around the mangroves, you know, when the season's in. So coming out about late March and April, they start moving in, and some of the bigger fish start coming back because cold weather will push them out to either offshore or down south. Something, I don't know where they go, but they don't hang around here too much. We catch the little small ones, but they're usually in the deep canals. But I caught too many big ones in the wintertime. But anyways, you can take this, and it's a good rig for flounder and stuff. Flounder will hit them when you're using live bait, like shrimp, stuff like that. They'll come up off the bottom and get it. You know, it's just a good natural, just good way to present your bait. All right, that's enough on the popping cork. We'll move on to the Carolina rig. This is a Carolina rig. You freshwater fishermen probably understand what I'm talking about here. You just, in freshwater, they just take off the hook and put a weedless worm on there, or some other soft plastic. And what we have here is a swivel tied to your leader, tied to your hook. Pretty simple rig. Then you tie your main line to the top opening, and then I put a bead. I usually put a bead like that, because this, bam, see how it hits that? Protects your knot a little bit, so your knot don't get beat up and break. But these are very effective lures in salt water now. I mean, not lures, but a very effective rig in salt water. Catches just about everything. Now this hook here is a big hook, so for the video purposes, but normally I would put like a 1/0 on there, or 2/0, maybe a 3/0 at most. And for fishing around the bridges, the passes, canals, channels, even docks. This is a good rig around docks too. Catch sheephead, mangrove snappers, redfish, snook. A lot of snook on these. On the East Coast, I use this almost exclusively. Over on the Atlantic side, in the inlets. On the West Coast, I use this a lot. We'll put a shrimp on there, maybe a 1/4 ounce weight, whatever the current dictates. It could be heavier, it could be a heavier weight, could be a lighter weight. But generally on the outgoing tides over there in the passes and the inlets, that's when I fish the passes and the inlets on the outgoing tide, because it's sweeping all the bait and stuff out of the bay, out to the inlets, and the fish are lined up in there and catching them. And that way, then when the tide turns to come back, just go in, just follow the fish, because they're going to be outside. Fish are going to be outside on the low tide, and they move in and start fanning out on the flats and stuff. So that's why I use this on deeper water rigs, around bridges, passes, channels, and deeper spots. And you could put whatever bait on there you want. Oops. I usually go with a 2/0 hook to start with. If I'm fishing for snook and redfish, I use 2/0 or 3/0, because if you ever get a big snook, 20, 30 pound snook hooked up, he'll bend your hook if you don't have a strong enough hook. But if you're trying to catch mangrove snappers, and that's predominantly what's in there, or some smaller fish, you can drop down to a 2/0 or maybe even a 1/0 if you want, for the smaller fish. But this is a very, 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 very effective rig down here in Florida, and I know it'll work where you live. All right, well, that's enough for that one. Let's show you this one. This here is a swivel head. This head swivels around like that, so it makes it flexible. It makes it a little better. Worm. This can be used in freshwater. I've caught bass off of it, catch redfish off of it. Unfortunately, I haven't caught a snook off of it yet, but I haven't tried it that long. But this here, kind of looks like a shrimp. I call it the mantis shrimp. I call this the mantis. It's made after a mantis shrimp, but the redfish will hit this thing, man. And bass too. Caught bass off of it. Pretty much anything a bass will hit, a redfish will hit it too. So I'm not sure how close I can get to this thing. So just bear with me. And this here I'll show you how to rig this, and how to rig it where it's weedless. See how that's weedless right there. And what I do is I run it through to the first segment right there. Run it through, pull it down, run it up to where it's up to the bottom of the football head shape. And then right there it shows you, when you hang it, it automatically lines it up for you. See where the hook, that's where it should enter the body at, right there, where it's telling you to. So what I'm gonna do, take it, you put it in there and push it all the way through, like that. And there's the point right here. Here's the point. See? So then, to make it weedless, you just push up on it a little bit and hook that point in there like that. Now see how that's weedless? Yeah, and just straighten it up. Now you got it good and straight. And back it up. Right here, this channel that runs down the middle of this bait, that's where you want to put your hook point at, right in there, and you stick it in there. That helps keep it weedless. These are very effective. I got this is a 1/4 ounce for, yeah, this is a 1/4 ounce, and that's what I like using out on the flats so it don't bury up in the grass. Even though it's weedless, it don't bury up in the grass as bad. You can just give it a little twitch and it'll come out of that grass. Pretty effective lure. Well, okay, one more. Got 2 more rigs here. Actually got, okay, we've got a Texas rig here. This is a Texas rig. All you bass fishermen should be familiar with this kind of rig. A lot of people just put a plastic worm on there when they're bass fishing for it. But I've used this for saltwater. I rig it up so it be weedless. You know, you can throw it up next to the mangroves and across the oyster bars and in the grass. You know, don't pull up grass and stuff. And you just basically rig it the same way as you do the swivel head, except you put a bullet weight on top. See, and that thing will go through grass, all kinds of stuff. It'll go through oyster bars and grass and just slide right through all that stuff. Pretty nice little rig, you know. You can use it for fresh water or salt water. Okay. What we got here, just standard shrimp, jigs. I got this one here is called the finger mullet. It's got this eye right here, so up on top of the jig. So when you cast it out, it'll pull up like that. It'll go up a little bit instead of, you know, just straight or down. So this one generally goes straight. And this one will go up first, and then it'll kind of level out. It won't get down in the grass or in the oyster bars and stuff like that, because this is not a weedless rig right here. This one is made with a black nickel chrome extra strong round bend hook. I don't know how I'm gonna move it in and out a little bit so you can get a look at it. Okay. That's a nice rig right there. I caught a lot of redfish off of it and snook. And this one got a hook on there I like quite a bit. It's called a Victory V-Lock hook. Very stiff, very stout wire. Got a very stout wire to it right there. Now this is a 1/2 ounce head. I usually fish this around bridges and such, deeper water than the flats. Maybe around a power plant outflow. You know, somewhere where the water's a little deeper. Or I could put a lighter head on there, and then like a 1/4 ounce head is what I usually use. That's my go-to around here, because I'm fishing in 3 to 4 foot of water most of the time or less. So this paddle tail, you know, it goes back and forth like a swimming tail, you know. So this makes it pretty good to catch redfish, snook, sea trout too. Trout to hit it. A lot of different species will hit it, like bluefish, Spanish mackerel, all kinds of stuff. Okay, well that ought to do it for the five inshore rigs that you should know. As a saltwater fisherman, you should know these. So if you got some value out of this video, like and subscribe, please. It helps the algorithm, helps us out a little bit, and I really thank you for watching this video. Goodbye.